Welcome to Superlap Scotland, powered by Rockstar Energy Drink, for a look at the final round of the Championship. Superlap Scotland has been fabulous this year, with lots of champions getting crowned earlier in the season, but there's still a couple up for grabs. We're also at the Paul Walker Tribute Festival. With over 500 show cars and trucks, it's a great family day out. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take a little look back at the season up to this point. Class F early season promise was shown by Chris Hislop and Robert Jobson, with Marshall Wishart from the Shetland Isles always being there or thereabouts. Neil Methan, also another fast man, but Robert Jobson took the win in round one. Robert Jobson takes the honours in Class F in the Disability Motorsport Scotland Audi A3.
The car was good, finally dried up that little bit and let us push on.
And then we met Colin Duthie.
You've no idea what this means for somebody who loves adrenaline and just has lost that feeling. And to get back in a car and do that is come to Knockhill, get in a car and just have fun.
Martin Brown was another man who would show some great form throughout the season. He took a third overall on the Saturday, and Neil Methan took a second overall on the Saturday. Look at that style through Duffy's Dip there.
I'm aiming to get 60 seconds in both directions this year. That's what my target is. So getting closer, we just need to keep working on it.
Neil Methan very sideways through the top of Duffy's, but Marshall Wishart was now starting to put a bit of steam into his driving. Unfortunately, Martin Brown found the gravel trap, and another personal best for Suzanne Buist, making progress all the time. Martin Brown, Marshall Wishart, these guys head to head all the time.
You put in a stonking lap yesterday, and here you've got the fan club down from Shetland. How's that feel?
That's right, yeah, just a little bit more pressure, but it's great that they all come down. I think there was 10 of us on the boat coming down, so I guess on the way back, we had a great day yesterday, so we'll have a party anyway.
Marshall Wishart bagged a double, but look what happened on Sunday morning. Neil Methan into the gravel trap, and over goes the Renault Clio. Nice couple of rolls at the bottom of Duffy's Dip for Neil. Unfortunately, it rained for the afternoon, but the guys with Neil Methan managed to get that car back together, and look at this, he made it back out for the final. Credit where it's due, Neil Methan put everything into getting back out for Superlap Scotland, but it was Martin Brown third, Colin Duthie got a second, and Marshall Wishart again took the victory in his beautiful Mazda.
It's a 105.7, so that's a new personal best for me, anti-clockwise. So.
Personal best for Suzanne Buist, she's happy, and Neil Methan arrived in August in his new Renault Clio. Couldn't fix the blue one, so they built a black car, and Martin Brown P2 on Saturday. Methan even got a P3, but this was the highs and lows of Marshall Wishart. Winning on the Saturday, and unfortunately for Sunday, Marshall Wishart made a very uncharacteristic mistake, something we don't see him doing, as he came into Clark Corner, big hunk of sausage curb, round she goes.
I'm absolutely gutted. Came up to Clark's there, brake, turning fine, got on the power, seemed to be fine until just the very exit. Never actually got onto the gravel or anything on the exit line, but it just decided it was going to swap ends.
So Suzanne got a personal best going the other direction around Knockhill, and Chris Hislop was also well into the fight. It was a third place for Colin Duthie in the August, and Neil Methan took a very well deserved P2. Martin Brown though took the overall win, and it set up a dramatic finale at the Paul Walker Tribute. Looking at Class E, a very busy class dominated predominantly by Renault Clios, which you can see the Lothian Electrical guys putting up a very good fleet of cars for these guys to go out. And Stephen McNabb, another man who is very fast in Class E. However, tricky weather conditions made it difficult for the guys to stay on the track, and Stu Robertson was the man who took the qualifying victory. Fraser Jameson was the man who was going to get quicker, as was Stephen McFarlane and Craig Wallace. Jamie Gowdy, another man who quite liked the wet. But Craig Wallace here lights up the inside wheel and heads up Duffy's Dip. Jonathan Scrimmager was in a road car, and he's brand new to Superlap Scotland, and he was making progress through each and every time he got on track. Just look at this, so Steve McNabb right out to the edge of the track, flirting with disaster, but Fraser Jameson took the win. Second place was Michael Foster, and Stuart Buchan took a fine third.
Yeah, very happy. Struggled a wee bit in the wet and qualifying, but it dried up for the final, so happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good. So Jamie Gowdy comes through the bottom of Duffy's Dip there, very much out of control, but manages to gather it all back up, as Scrimmager was a man who got caught out by turn 3 McIntyres. Look at this for style. Steve McNabb, two wheels it through, Turn 3 at Knockhill, which is McIntyre's, as Jameson has a lovely drift through the chicane. May saw the temperatures increase and also saw the pace increase, and James McLeany was the man who took the win, even with a lock-up like that at the hairpin.
It's hard going. As you know, we've been struggling with the car all last 16. I got a nice trophy. It's not for myself, I'm going to say it's for the guys that reads the trophy.
Lots and lots of familiar cars there, and McLeany was carrying a good bit of form on as we went in towards July. But a man making more progress, this guy, Steve McFarlane. Fastest in qualifying on Saturday, even with Steve McNabb attacking like that, but it was Fraser Jameson who took the win. Jameson through the Arnold Clark chicane was on form.
Here we have Fraser Jameson, who's leading Class E at the moment, and he also was victorious in yesterday's event. Fraser, you've also laid down the fastest practice time this morning, so obviously feeling pretty good about today.
Yeah, more confident. I prefer clockwise direction, so a wee bit more confident today. See how it goes.
A little bit of damp here, and we're going to get to see Ian Pittman come through chicane in his brother's Mini. Pittman, absolute maximum attack all the way. And Fraser Jameson got a fourth, James McLeany got a third, Stuart Buchan got a second. But on Sunday it was all about Stevie McNabb. Stevie Awesome McNabb was absolutely untouchable in his white Renault Clio. We see him going through Leslie's in towards McIntyre's, just simply awesome. Never seen a smile so big for the man when he collected his trophies, and some cracking driving from this guy to secure the win in Class E.
Awesome. So I can say, car's been amazing all day. First out this morning, personal best in the warm-up, and just got better and better.
Jason Ogg arrived with us in August. It was great to see him back. And Jason Ogg was a fast man in the Honda. The first event of the year for Lewis Skeen also, and he bagged a second overall on Saturday. But Stevie McFarlane dominated on Saturday. Perfect score for him in his Subaru. He drives that car so well and lets it all hang out. But then on Sunday we saw Steve McNabb split a radiator hose going down first corner, and then watch what happens to McFarlane. A little bit of fluid on the track possibly for him. Big spin, McFarlane into the tyre wall. Season over. McNabb had problems all the way through it, popping another radiator hose later on, which caught out Jonathan Scrimmager at the corner before in his road car. Very dramatic E-Class. 54-point championship lead for you. Happy? I mean, that must be comfortable for the end of the year.
Yeah, ecstatic. It's been a good year. Hope for a couple of better results, but you can't grumble with a 54-point lead.
So even after a win on Sunday, he goes at the Paul Walker with the championship almost in his pocket. Let's take a look at the D-Class, and in April, Stephen Jeffries had a bit of a moment through the chicane, as did David Rabowski. We moved the front bumper from his Subaru, and we see David having a few big moments throughout the course of the year. Bonthorne and Cherry, they were two guys who were going to go head-to-head all year.
Stephen Jeffries, and the smile really says it all, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have tried quite hard through the course of last season, and as I say, we've put on some new tyres for qualifying, and they've certainly made a difference. Yeah.
Newcomers Alex Milne, Robert Davey, Jean-Luc Cartwright in his Lexus, and Mark Irving in his Ford Focus were all new to D-Class and Superlap Scotland, and they were all very fast. Rabowski did get back out, as did the former champion Paul Tuch. But it was not about Bonthorne and Cherry, it was all about the winner taking the victory, Stephen Jeffries. As we moved on in towards May, Rabowski's style was still the same, although Cherry and Bonthorne were head to head. How's the car feeling so far?
Yeah, it's feeling good. We've made a few changes over the past few days, so we're just seeing how they're working, but they're going okay.
Ewan Begbie arrived on the scene in the Golf, as did David Wilson, very fast here, and Chris Cherry was meaning business.
The temperature on the track certainly went up, so everything's getting a lot hotter, a lot quicker, so we're having to constantly adjust it a bit, but we're getting there.
Yeah, chasing the balance is Chris Cherry. Let's see how he gets on. Mark Dawson also made an appearance. So Cherry took his first victory of the season. Bonthorne could only manage P3, and Stephen Jeffries another good P2. Andrew Cowie was very flamboyant as we moved in towards July, as was Chris Cherry.
Good, yeah. It was a few late nights before the event. I'm sure you'll know. So it was good that actually we got the win for all the hassle that was involved. So yeah.
David Rabowski, new car, same style, down Duffus dip and backwards. So Cherry took the win in qualifying, but Bonthron took the win in Sunday.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm really glad that we finally managed to get a win after the battle with Cherry. So.
As we moved into August, Alex Milne set a personal best, and with Cherry missing both rounds, Bonthron took the victory. Ewan Begbie absolutely on it through Clark Corner there. Great to see that golf going just as fast as it always has done. But it was all about Ian Bonthron.
Listen, congratulations, buddy. A good win.
Thanks.
Another good win.
Thanks very much.
Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Dreams aren't meant to be broken.
Let's take a look at the C class in April, and that's Blair McConaughey in that big BMW. Because his Caterham wasn't ready, he had to go out and have a little shot in his daily driver. Robbie Wiper won qualifying, great result for him. Keith Cowie though was only good enough for third place on the actual day. And look at this, he even put the car in the gravel trap in the morning. But really, it was all about Martin Henry. Flamboyant style from Martin Henry here. Right now.
Well, we've done a 56.7, I'm sure, this direction, and a 57.3 normal, so as long as we can beat that and try and get the championship win this year is really the ideal thing.
Martin Henry straight out into May and in trouble.
So I was well happy this morning, but this afternoon we've changed a couple of things and it's just not as good as what it was, so maybe going back to what it was.
So McConaughey back in his Caterham would take the win. Martin Henry though was struggling out the chicane, lots of bumps and the car wasn't right at all. But Blair McConaughey, even with this lockup, still managed to take a very commanding win.
Absolutely fantastic. That BMW was a complete boat to get round here. Far too heavy, so many scary moments.
As we move into July, McConaughey won on a Saturday.
You're here, you've got other people that are quite competitive. You can't really hold back too much, so decided to throw caution to the wind, and thankfully the car, it's not sounding the best, but it's still surviving at the moment.
And as we moved into Sunday, Paul Tomlinson was very much on form, as was Steve Arkley. But it was all about a different man. It was about Craig Menzies, the wet weather specialist, showed up in his Lotus Elise and absolutely trounced everybody in tricky trying conditions. Great to see a man there in his Lotus having fun around Knockhill.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I had no idea what to expect this weekend whatsoever. And to be honest, probably the wet played in my favour because every track day I've ever done, it's practically been wet.
Moving in towards August in the sunshine, Saturday saw McConaughey winning qualifying, but Keith Cowie got a personal best and a victory.
Yes, personal best, quickest I've ever been around Knockhill, so was hoping to go quicker today, but car troubles this morning.
We also saw the return of Robbie Wiper after missing 3 rounds, and he's no longer in the road car class after fitting a roll cage, and really going very well in it. But Keith Cowie was struggling. That left this man, Blair McConaughey, to take the wins. This C class is a fabulous class this year with you and Keith Cowie. The complete contrast to cars, but it's working well with the power to weight.
It does, and it makes me very nervous every single round.
Oh baby, I love your madness.
Let's take a look at the B class roundup for the year. It was all about George Rigby and Adam Kyness. Craig McCready made a good April meeting though, and Keith Boyd, also in his yellow Civic, getting onto the podium. But it was all about George Rigby.
Yeah, car's fine. I'd have liked it to be dry during the session to see exactly what I had underneath me for the rest of the year, but the final lap it seemed I was sort of heading back a wee bit and had a lot of grip, I think. So
as we moved in towards May, George Rigby was still fast, but the return of Adam Kyness saw the guys going head to head on track for the first time. Again, Keith Boyd in his little yellow Civic fast, but Adam Kyness was struggling with the back end of his car.
I was in 6th gear going down Duffus. Another couple of gears wrong as well.
Craig McCready was the first man out, literally, because the car expired at Hislops, and that left Adam Kyness free track to get a clean sweep off the weekend. Adam was on fine form, although he was still sliding.
No, he's quite competitive, but so am I. I know my times are faster than his so far anyway, but he's got a bit more power. But I'm happy I beat him, that's the main thing.
As we moved into reverse direction July, this is all about George Rigby. He loves reverse direction and he stamped his authority all over it. Even though Adam Kindness did manage to come on and win the final, Rigby was so fast, pushing Adam all the way. As we moved into a wet Sunday, Adam Kindness still flamboyant as ever, but so was George Rigby, really struggling with the rear end of their cars. It was a clean sweep though for Adam Kindness over the course of the weekend. George Rigby just couldn't take it towards Adam in these tricky trying conditions.
Yeah, it's good to be pushed, and George is a good driver, wet and dry, reverse and normal direction, so he pushes you, which is good. So I had to actually work for it today.
Into August, and Rigby took a clean sweep on the Saturday.
I'm basically aiming for Adam's personal best now while he's not here, so I've not got there yet, but I'll keep trying.
And Andy Clotworthy made his debut. He took P2 in qualifying and P3 in the final behind Keith Boyd in his Honda Civic. But George Rigby was the man who took the clean sweep, and he was delighted with it.
Well, I need to get into a 54 before I start pushing Adam's times, but unfortunately it's not happened today.
Let's take a look at the A-Class review now. In April saw Lowell Forsyth having a big spin through the chicane, but Archie Bain followed him, proving that it was very slippy. And just look at Alistair Mowat in his BMW, way out of control.
So got a wee bit out of it, but not much. It's still 200 kilos heavier than the other guys and about half the power. But
into the finals, and this bad gear change probably cost John Stevenson the win. The final, Bain beat Stevenson, and that's what it was all about. Still out of control, Alistair Mowat, and you stole that away from John Stevenson, your good friend there.
Yeah, John's quick, very quick, so to take the points off John, got to be happy with that.
As we moved in towards May, still without his Golf GTI, Alistair Mowat, but the Stevenson-Bain rivalry was really hotting up. John Stevenson was taking it towards Archie Bain, and Stevenson clean sweeped Sutherland second and Bain in third.
The day couldn't have gone better for me. The car's fantastic. Never opened the bonnet all day.
As we move in towards July, Stephen Jeffries arrived to give John Stevenson and Archie Bain a bit of a hard time. Jeffries was non-point scoring though.
Happy with the time-ish, but it should have been quicker, but the win's a win.
Jeffries still sideways on the Sunday. Bain did win the Saturday and then had the slowest spin possible at the hairpin on the Sunday, but Stephen Jeffries actually took the win from John Stevenson, although he wasn't scoring points, so that let John Stevenson take the full points from that one, and Archie Bain taking second.
New car was really good, had a few issues yesterday, but yeah, it's pretty exciting to drive, especially in the wet, yeah.
Finally to August, Alistair Mowat unveiled the Golf. No Bain, no Jeffries, and this Golf was just a beautiful thing to look at and see through the Arnold Clark chicane, a little bit of a touring car-esque line.
my target was I wanted to get into the 55s, and to do that I was delighted.
Mowat took qualifying win and the final on Saturday, and Sunday he couldn't do it though because John Stevenson was full of praise for Ali Mowat, but he took the win.
Yeah, that's really good today. Thoroughly enjoyed today actually. It's gone without issue. I had a few yesterday, so very pleased.
And here's the A-class love now.
Well, it's really impressive that he's basically just brought it out the box and he's on the pace immediately with it.
April, the Pro Class, the champion Paul Rankin arrives but has power steering issues and can't compete. So that leaves the door open for this man, Colin Dorward, and he takes the final and the qualifying win.
How was the lap for you there?
The lap was fantastic actually. I managed to get clear space and hook it up pretty well.
Prediction for the final?
I'm going to win, yep.
David Long was out there in his Caterham, as was Eric Holmes in his Mitsubishi, but Colin Dorward was the man on form. Paul Rankin will be back for the May one. Do you think you've got enough to take it to him?
Yes, no problem.
Paul Rankin arrived in a Golf for round 2 because his Subaru couldn't be fixed in time, which was a bit of a shame, and he was very underpowered.
Are you nervous your car's out there?
Aye.
And it was great to see Russ Payton back out. Russ very fast on his day. Qualifying action note was all about Colin Dorward taking the qualifying fastest time, and that's how he arrived out as well.
Now that's round 1 and round 2 in your pocket as winner. How was your lap for you?
The time was average, and the lap was terrible.
As we move into July, Andy Forrest come out in his Stormtrooper car. The World Time Attack Sydney car, well, yeah, it was something just a little bit different, running in the guest class. David Long was as fast as ever, and Rankin took the qualifying win on the Saturday, but Dorward took the final win on the Saturday. Eric Holmes, well, he found a gravel trap, thankfully not the wall. Dorward, a man on a mission in the pro class.
I think, full power on this thing over the one lap. I would like to get a 51.
Wet conditions, Paul Rankin just couldn't do it. It was all about Colin Dorward probably having more track time, gave Dorward the advantage. He took another victory.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's all about the lap time. So the position's great, and winning's great, but the lap time ultimately it's where you need to be.
As we move in towards August, a few drivers were missing. Rankin, Holmes, Howie and Payton, but Colin Linklater made a debut in a 950 brake horsepower Subaru. It's a monster.
Yeah, myself and my friend Alistair built the car in a shed in the Outer Hebrides. So the car's named the Hebridean.
It was all about Colin Dorward though. He is unstoppable this year.
Look, you've put a lot of effort into this car. Do you feel like you're developing it throughout the year since round 1?
The car's really remained the same. We've went paddle shift this year, so just getting that tidied up, working 100% has been pretty difficult because the lack of track time or testing time even, just with work and stuff like that as well. So but it's getting there. So at least these practice sessions are allowing us to, modify the and refine the system every time.
In this instance, we're using it with our wireless system, so we can gear up and gear down with a removable steering wheel on the car. So if we want to request a gear up, we just pull the lever, gear down, pull it back, and with an engine management system, you can stack the shifts. You can put any request you want, and you can do it up to 6 or 10 metres away if you want to show off to your friends. So it's a reliable system. There's obviously a development, it depends on the application and the ECU and the car you're using it in, but we're having great success with it just now with Colin Dorward's car, who's won every one of the pro rounds just now with the system. So we're enjoying selling this with a lot of interest from the customers and some new technology, which is really interesting to be part of.
Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Dreams aren't meant to be broken.
Paul Walker Tribute Festival at Knockhill Racing Circuit is now an annual sensation. The worldwide renowned show car scene, which we have here in Scotland, visits the circuit annually and puts on a fabulous display. There's all sorts of things going on as well, from magicians to parade laps to drifting and drag racing. The Paul Walker Tribute is one great event.
Aren't meant to be broken. In tears when reading old letters. Something isn't right when looking back is better. Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Take me to where the mountains can kill. People are free and time stands still. Whatever makes my heart come to life or fall apart. Show me dice, roll the dice. You don't live twice. Roll the dice. I see the fire in your eyes. They used to take color from the skies. Do you remember? Take me to where the mountains can kill. People free, time stands still. Whatever makes my heart come to life or fall apart. Show me the best and worst of the world. I hope that's the life that you prefer. And if you want to go with me there, just let me know. Roll the dice, you don't live twice. Roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice. You don't live twice. Roll the dice. Dreams aren't meant to be broken.
Qualifying is just about to start for group number 1, classes E and F going out onto track. Interesting, we're going to have to keep our eyes on Marshall Wishart, Martin Brown and Neil Methven for that all-important qualifying slot in Group F.
So E and F on track together, and yeah, Martin Brown comes in with the slightest championship lead over Marshall Wishart and Neil Methven. But we've got to say, Marshall Wishart is the man carrying the form. Ray McGinley in his Ford Puma taking a very early trip through the gravel trap at McIntyre's turn 3, but he wasn't the only one. He wouldn't be the only one who found the gravel out this weekend. James McClaney doing his best impersonation of a windmill inside a car there, with arms flying everywhere, but he managed to hold that at Clarkson. Look at this, the drive shaft breaks. There you go, Michael Foster, that's drive shaft number 1. Breaks just as he goes in towards Butcher's. Piles of oil coming out the car, and he parks that car in the gravel trap, and it was the start of a weekend of disasters for him. Not one drive shaft, but maybe 2, maybe even 3. Marshall Wishart, also the form man into the weekend in F class, throws the car off the road in qualifying, fills it full of gravel, but manages to keep himself going back into the pits, and the team would get all the gravel out. Martin Brown's brakes were on fire going past the camera there, so it shows you just how hard that man's actually pushing in qualifying. Fraser Jameson, he was the man in Class E for most of the year.
So at the end of qualifying session number 1, fastest E-class man is once again Fraser Jameson. Fastest in F-class is Marshall Wishart. Martin Brown and Neil Methven have it all to do after qualifying. Marshall Wishart, that's half the job, well and truly done by getting the fastest time in F-class.
Excellent, thank you. It's yeah, we got a bit leery out there a few times, but yeah, it's worked well.
Yeah, with the lap that you put together, they're quite a bit faster than Martin Brown and Neil Methven. That's going to give you some hope.
That's good, yeah. Of course, we only get all these details afterwards, but yeah, that's fantastic news. We'll get take a bit of satisfaction out of that one, and just try and get prepared for the final. Now that's a whole different ball game altogether.
Yeah, happy with that. Still not quite fast enough. I want to try and break into the 59 seconds, but next year maybe.
Do you think you can maybe do that in the final today?
I'll be giving it a try. Last round, last lap, so I might as well go for it.
So qualifying results for F and E. Martin Brown, Chris Hislop and Marshall Wishart fastest in F, with Foster McNabb and the form man in E, Fraser Jameson quickest.
So we're just awaiting the start of Superlap Scotland, powered by Rockstar Energy Drink, qualifying session number 2. Behind us we've got C and D classes. C class is very, very exciting, and it's very close between Keith Cowie and Blair McConaughey. Let's see who gets the extra points in qualifying from this one.
So 5 points for qualifying, it's what it's all about, and that's what the guys in classes C and D will be going for. Ian Bonthrone might have it a little bit easier in qualifying because Chris Cherry is not out, but Keith Cowie, well, he's going to have a fight in his hands with this man, Blair McConaughey. Blair is back, and Paul Tomlinson also seems to be improving with pace through qualifying, getting faster and faster. But with Chris Cherry being gone, Ian Bonthrone might have a clear run at being fastest, although he has given his car out to his friend, a man who he sponsors in the Celtic Speed Mini Cooper Cup, Mark Geraghty. Let's see how Mark gets on in that car. Craig Menzies is also out here, and he would have been hoping that it would have been wet because I saw him getting a victory earlier on in the year in his Lotus Exige, but the dry conditions really started to favour Keith Cowie. Cowie was getting faster through qualifying, but at the very end of it, Blair McConaughey put in a 55.1 second lap to snatch qualifying away from him, and Mark Geraghty did take qualifying honours in Class D. He done a 57.8 second lap to steal it away from his sponsor, car owner, and ultimately his boss, Ian Bonthrone. Blair was happy to be back in his Caterham because, as you remember from the start of the year, he was in that big BMW and didn't like that at all.
Fastest man in D-Class qualifying is Ian Bonthrone, and he's basically a second faster than David Rabowski. A 58 flat for you and a 58.9 for David Rabowski. That's going to make you feel pretty good going in towards your final run.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I'm quite happy about that. David's a quick guy, and we know that he's going to come back strong next year when he gets his car back, so we'll make the most of it whilst we can. So.
I do know, though, there are other things on your mind right now. Beck, if you just swing round, we've got Mark Geraghty about to go out in your car. You're letting somebody else drive the car this weekend, so, you know, you look a little bit pensive.
That was a bad idea in hindsight, actually. But never mind. No, Mark's a good mate, and we sponsor him in the minis, and he's doing really well, actually. So he's a fast guy. I just got to bear that in mind when I see the times. He's a couple of tenths up on me, so there you go. But that's it.
Rabowski, Bonthrone and Geraghty were qualifying in Class D, with Tomlinson, Cowie and Blair McConaughey the fastest in the C class.
Qualifying for Pro A and B is just gathering up behind us just now. The championships are effectively sealed in this class, so it's all about King of the Hill honours. Can Colin Dorward take that honour this year? Let's find out after qualifying. So Pro A and B hit the track here at Knockhill, and that, number 99, is Andy Forrest. And it's great to see Andy here in his Westfield. You know, one-off appearance in a car which he just decided to buy because he saw it for sale. Andy Forrest back on track and as quick as ever. And this is Hamish Gordon in the Ultima GTR, sideways on corner entry and sideways on corner exit. A man trying to tame the sideways back is Adam Kindness, because for once we've got him and George Rigby together on track at the same time, going head to head for the B class honours. It's been very close with those guys all year, and we've actually put Andy Forrest right in with that class in the middle of it. David Long set a personal best in qualifying with a 53.2 second lap, and it was something special to watch him take that Caterham round at that speed. David's been improving all year, and to get into the 53 second bracket he was absolutely delighted, only 3 tenths off the back of Colin Dorward, and a good chunk of time faster than Ross Payton. Andy Forrest slotted himself in between Kindness and Rigby, much to the amusement of half the paddock. Adam Kindness did get fastest in his class, in Class B. Rigby could only manage third, and John Stevenson come away with the fastest time in A class with a 53.456. Adam has missed a few rounds this year, and George Rigby really puts himself through the grinder up against Adam's time, and he's always trying to chip away. So when Andy Forrest slotted in just in front of him, George was not a happy man in the paddock. Stevenson, no, he's been a dream to watch in Class A all year, and with a 53 second lap you could see the smile from the inside of the car as he was going round. But 52.8 seconds was the fastest time of the day for Colin Dorward in the Pro class.
Yeah, there's no point hammering the car lap after lap after lap when you've only got one lap in the final. So I think every session so far I've just done one hot lap, and they've been first in every class, well, every session, so that's fine.
John Stevenson was fastest in A-class qualifying, and he's up against Stephen Jeffries and Alistair Moore. Alistair complaining of his golf not having the power it should have, but for yourself, you've definitely got the power. That's a good lap time you put in.
Absolutely, I think it was a PB actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a good way to go in towards your final Super Lap Scotland shootout of 2017?
Yeah, hopefully I won't end up facing in the wrong direction in the final as I did in qualifying though.
Well, that's always a plan, John, but are you going to make any changes to the car now? I see you've been playing with a laptop on the roof here.
Just turn the power up to maximum.
B-class qualifying was Andy Forrest and Adam Kindness taking that one. A-class saw Mowat beaten by Stevenson, and David Long was beaten by Colin Dorward in the Pro class.
Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Dreams aren't meant to be broken.
Well, in true SLS style, a spanner has been well and truly thrown in the mix. We now have a wet final. For all the work the guys done in qualifying in the dry, it's now out the window. Let's see how the guys get on in the first session for F&E Super Lap Scotland powered by Rockstar Energy in the wet.
Onto track for the F-Class cars. First we saw Suzanne Buist and Kevin Strachan in his Renault Clio. Ray McGinley in his Ford Puma had a few excitable moments throughout the course of the weekend, and Colin Duthie was back in his Audi A3. Great to see Chris Hislop still here campaigning his Renault Clio 197. But then we get into the top three. Martin Brown only good enough for third place today, and that's not good for his championship. And Marshall Wisher only good enough for second place, disastrous for his championship. That meant Neil Methven in the black Renault Clio number 41, after rolling at that exact corner a couple of rounds ago and building this car, Neil Methven went on to not only take the victory in the F-Class, he also went on to take the championship with a 106.2 around Knockhill.
Very happy, obviously. But no, I went out, tried to take everything smooth, obviously, wet conditions, everything was on the line really this round. Took it easy. I did feel as though I had taken it too easy, to be honest, but I'm very, very chuffed with the result.
Into E-Class, Ian Biaggi in his Mini Clubman was the first car on track, and Craig Wallace in his Renault Sport Megane followed him out. James McClaney struggling big time here at the Exeter McIntyres, and Jonathan Scrimmager in his road-going Vauxhall Astra VXR in fifth. Look at Stuart Robertson here through the chicane. Very, very flamboyant, and there should be 4 Renault Clios to the top of this class, because Stevie McNabb also put his Clio just ahead of Robertson. Fraser Jameson only good enough for second place today, and it was his teammate Michael Foster who broke a drive shaft, a couple of engine mounts and a throttle body. And such is the spirit of SLS Superlap Scotland, people in the paddock lent him bits for his car, and he went on to take the victory with a 105.7. He was delighted.
Yeah, I've had a disaster all day. Drive shafts falling out, 2 gearbox mounts, 2 throttle bodies, but to throw it together and get it a fast lap, it's decent. One of the guys at the pits gave me his throttle body. I've only spoke to him about 3 times in my life, and he was good enough to give me some parts to get me back out there. So
the finals in F-Class, Martin Brown, Marshall Wisher and Neil Methven takes the championship with that class win. McNabb, Jameson and Michael Foster wins Class E.
And now we have the finals for classes C and D about to head out onto track. Let's see who takes the honours in this one, and remember, slippery underfoot.
Jean-Luc Carty was the first man onto track for the D class in his Lexus IF, and then we had Robert Jobson, who was out there in a Honda S2000 in the guest class car. No power to weight ratio for that car yet, so he was guesting it. After Robert, we had Robert Davey in his Lotus Elise S220 Cup car. A little bit of a slide at the exit of the chicane, and watch Mark Irvine here through the chicane. On the power, a bit too keen on the curb, drags him off the track into the gravel, but he does recover. The Audi TTRS Plus of Alex Milne was in 4th place. Steady as ever for Alex, and he's made personal best throughout the course of the year. And it was the big Rabowski, David Rabowski, nice and calm through Les Isères, got himself onto the podium for 3rd place. Mark Geraghty, who was sharing his sponsor's car here, Mark was only good enough for 2nd place in the BMW E46 M3, and it was Ian Bonthrow, the man who's campaigned the car all year, managed to set a 103.5 second lap. He was a whole second faster than his Mini Cooper Cup teammate, Mark Geraghty. However, Bonthrow was absolutely delighted, and he took the D-Class honours.
The car's good in the wet, to be honest. I probably could have pushed a fair bit harder than that, but I didn't. But there you go. Oh, it's been good, yeah. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to the awards night, and then we'll end the year and see what happens next year.
Into C-Class, Steve Arkley was the first man on his Westfield Mega Busa to hit the track. And after him, it was Blair McConaughey. It just hadn't been a great day for these light little cars. The Caterham and the Westfield both struggling towards the end of the day in these tricky conditions. One man who wasn't struggling was Paul Tomlinson in his Subaru Impreza. He done a 105.6 for 3rd place. And Craig Menzies, a man who won a round earlier in the year in the rain, only good enough for 2nd place. A 104.8 for him. But it was this man, number 131, Keith Cowie, who took the C-Class honours. And Keith was on form. As we go on board with him here, we can see the man at work going through some of the corners at Knockhill Racing Circuit, and Keith strung together an absolutely fantastic lap. As he come through the hairpin of Knockhill, a couple of gear changes up towards the checkered flag, and he took the C-Class honours with a 104.4.
Yes, it was a good lap. I made a mistake. Selected 2 gears coming out of the hairpin, coming out of the chicane up to Clark's. It bogged, and I just had to correct it, push the rest of the lap, and I thought I'd blown it, to be honest.
Final results for D. C. Rabowski, Gerety and Ian Bonthorne win Class D. Paul Tomlinson, Craig Menzies and Keith Cowie with a fabulous C-Class victory.
So B-Class are starting their Super Lap Scotland. Let's see how the guys get on in these tricky conditions.
Andy Clopworthy was the first man out in his Subaru Impreza. He came away with a 4th place 105.5 second lap. And Andy Forrest returned in a Westfield, not the normal Subaru World Time Attack car that we're used to seeing, but it was great to see the former champion back out in something a little bit different. As we go on board with the former champ there, you can see him working the steering wheel through the famous Knockhill hairpin. George Rigby only good enough for 2nd place today, a 102.0, and he's been up against Adam Kindness all year, chasing the lap times of the track Scotland driver. So with George finishing 2nd place, that left the door open for the number 55 Track Scotland Subaru. And look at the style of Adam Kindness, 58.8 second lap, and you can see just how hard he was trying as he come over the top of the first corner at Duffy's Dip there. Through the chicane, Adam had Candy's style down, almost, a little bit wide there, but considering what we'd seen earlier on in the year, Adam really had tightened the screw down and got that car working. Into the hairpin, a couple of down changes was all he required. Get the car slowed down and turn it through the heart of the corner, accelerate gently out the corner, and Adam Kindness took Class B honours with a 58.8 second lap.
Adam Kindness wraps up what he thinks is a good 2nd place in the championship in B-Class, and he gets through today with no fires in the final. It's been a bit of a trying couple of weeks for you, Adam, but congratulations.
Yeah, it's been good fun, and the fires earlier on were a bit testing, but the guys from MB modified a Rockstar Energy can as a catch can type thing over the top of the headers, so saved the day.
Well, there's no better can to use. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
With just 2 classes left to run, A-Class is going to hit the track. Let's see how this man gets on in this Golf. Alistair Mowat, he's been battling fuel pump problems all day. Has he got that fixed for the final? Let's find out.
The answer was no. Alistair Mowat was off the pace, a 105.6. Poor Alistair's Golf just wasn't on song today at all. Only good enough for 3rd place. John Stevenson, only good enough for 2nd place. And was he caught behind Alistair Mowat? Well, he didn't request a rerun, so obviously not. 2nd place for John, a 103 flat. And then there's this man, Stephen Jeffries. What an addition to the A-Class Championship he has been this year. He took the victory in his Mitsubishi Evo, a 102.8 second lap, and Stephen Jeffries was silky smooth. As we see him going through Knockhill's famous chicane here, which you can find on Project Cars 2, driving up the back straight, Jeffries was putting together an absolutely perfect lap. In towards Knockhill's hairpin, through he come, and once again he took the victory in A-Class with a 102.8, 2/10 ahead of Stevenson.
Pretty slippy out there, to be fair. Yeah, it's always a sort of trying to find the limit of the grip without going overstepping it.
Now that's your 2nd victory this year. You did take a victory on the Sunday in July. Is this one a bit sweeter though, because it's the end of the year at the Paul Walker tribute?
Yes, they're all sweet, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I wasn't expecting probably to win today again, so yeah, definitely delighted with it.
And now we're down to the business end of it. The big cars are on track, making their way down to the pit exit. This is the pro final for Super Lap Scotland 2017, powered by Rockstar Energy Drink.
So in the final runoff for 2017, just 3 cars in the pro class, and Russ Payton was the first man, a 108.2 for Russ. Not normally what we are used to seeing from that man. And this man, David Long, also struggled in the actual runoff with a 104 flat. Bearing in mind he did a 53 second lap earlier on in the year in the dry, punching way above his weight in that little car. And that let the door open for Colin Dorward. The Mitsubishi Evo 5, piloted by Colin himself, 58.2 seconds with a nice slide out the Arnold Clark chicane and up the back straight. Dorward was once again untouchable in the pro class. It's all about the lap time for Colin. He chases it every time he's out there, and he took another dominant win in the pro class.
Colin Dorward seals off what has been a pretty perfect year by a win in the final pro class. You've got to be happy with that one, although everybody's come back saying tricky track conditions. First thing you said when you opened the door was, geez, that wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy, but it was good fun. Like, I mean, undoubtedly, if we all had the chance to put wet tyres on, or even have tyres warm enough to go out there, I reckon it was good fun. I like the wet.
And after, as of that, that's a good victory. Are you going to come back next year with the number 1 plate? You take away the 5 and just have a 1?
If it's available.
Yeah, well done, buddy.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers.
In the finals, Rigby was beaten by Adam Kindness. John Stevenson was run up towards Stephen Jeffries in A-Class, and Long and Dorward once again in the Pro, and we had Robert Jobson guesting. Colin Dorward takes the Pro Class Championship, and John Stevenson takes a fabulous A-Class Championship. B-Class goes to George Rigby, and Blair McConaughey takes the C-Class honours. D-Class goes to Ian Bunthorne, and Fraser Jameson takes a very well-deserved E-Class. Neil Methven wins F-Class after a bit of a up and down and over-the-top year. But the King of the Hill goes to Colin Dorward. It was a fabulous year for Colin, and big thanks to Rockstar Energy Drink and all the sponsors at the bottom of our screen. If you want to get involved with Superlap Scotland, check out superlapscotland.co.uk, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next year.
All we do is trying, it only makes us strong.